Hey, I'm Olivia, and you're listening to Soarin Around WDW. Okay, so I just wanted to go ahead and share a little bit of updates in the Disney world as far as news for what has been happening in the last couple of weeks. I've only been doing news updates every few episodes because there hasn't been a ton happening, but that has changed in the last week. A couple of things that were announced: Muppet Vision 3D finally does have a closing date, as does Pizza Rizzo. They both will be closing on June 7th. So if you want to go experience either Pizza Rizzo or Muppet Vision 3D or both before they are permanently closed, go ahead and head that way before June 7th. I hope to do so when I'm there in March with Eiley for her birthday. I am sad to see Muppet Vision 3D go. I'm excited to see what Monstropolis and the Monsters, Inc. world has for us. I'm hoping that they bring back Muppet Vision 3D over in the theater where the Cars show was, since they are redoing Rock and Roller Coaster, but time will tell. Mama Melrose, which is also over in that corner by Muppet Vision 3D, that is an Italian sit-down restaurant, and if you've never been, it's delicious. It's definitely one of our favorites. I'm sad to see it go, but I am curious to see how the Harryhausen's restaurant will turn out, assuming that is what they're doing for Monsters, Inc. Land, and that is closing on May 10th. We also had another closure update recently that Jelly Rolls is closing, which is a dueling piano bar over in the Boardwalk area. And this is really sad to me. We had heard rumors about this, but the Boardwalk area has been getting a big overhaul. They closed ESPN a few years ago and they replaced it with the Cake Bake Shop, which is expensive but has been very popular. And then they also closed Big River Grill, supposedly for refurbishments. Not sure if that's coming back or not. And now Jelly Rolls. So Boardwalk really does need a revamp. I love Jelly Rolls though. I'm really sad that they're getting rid of it. It's closing on April 1st. It does say that it will be moving to a new location, but that location was confirmed as a non-Disney location. It will just be elsewhere in Orlando. So hopefully still a easy place to go to while you're there for vacation. The hard part about it being on the boardwalk is that if you weren't staying at one of the boardwalk hotels, it was a little bit of a pain to get to from another resort. You'd have to hop to Disney Springs first, then hop over. And so it wasn't very convenient for anyone staying off of the boardwalk properties. But as a person who frequently stays at Swan and Dolphin, and I love the Swan and Dolphin, it was convenient and super fun. So I'm really glad that I went last year with one of my best friends, Gretchen, before its closure was announced. Astro Orbiter is also currently closed, and the whole thing as of this past week is basically dismantled. The refurbishment started on January 15th, but now it's looking pretty empty. So not sure if they're just redoing the rockets or what's happening, but the entire piece that's the focal point of Tomorrowland is currently gone. Construction did continue on Big Thunder Mountain, and the track is removed. New pieces are being brought in, and the first new piece of the actual track was put down on Friday, January 31st. So this refurbishment for Big Thunder is going to take over a year. So they have announced it will be closed all of 2025. And so I'm very curious, how this will go when it opens. Big Thunder is one of our favorite attractions, so we're looking forward to a few updates. The track actually was pretty smooth compared to like Space Mountain or some of the other roller coasters in the park. So getting a new track surprised me, but I'm excited to see what they do with it and what the different changes are. Also, Lightning Lane Premier Pass did sell out on Friday the 31st at Magic Kingdom for the first time since they opened it to all guests instead of just deluxe resort hotel guests. This continues to surprise me that people are willing to pay the money, but if people are willing to pay the money, they will continue to sell it. So we'll see what the future for Lightning Lane Premier Pass holds, but it selling out means it's probably going nowhere anytime soon. The Garden Rocks lineup at Epcot was announced and features lots of different repeat artists like Rick Springfield, Air Supply, Sugar Ray, Simple Plan, 98 Degrees, Plain White Tees, as well as new acts like Maverick City Music and We the Kingdom. I was sad that a few of our previous favorite acts are no longer listed anymore, but we won't be attending this year during any of the Garden Rocks time, as we are doing our trip in March and then heading to Disneyland in the summer. So looking forward to what they have on schedule for next year. The Star Wars Galactic Cruiser was also announced. that instead of it being turned into anything exciting for the general public, it will be repurposed into office space, which was a huge bummer. That was a lot of money wasted on this project. I know some people got to enjoy it and really loved it, but it just wasn't seemingly affordable for most people. And as big as the Star Wars fans are, I just don't think that it was a smart way for Disney to use their very limited spending, and they could have done something a lot cooler with the space than repurposing it into offices. So I wish they would have just made it into like a Star Wars hotel or something that guests could enjoy without it being as immersive of an experience. But that's neither here nor there. The baby tiger Basco was unveiled at Animal Kingdom this week as well, which was super exciting and a big deal because it's been a long time since they've had a baby animal that has arrived at the Animal Kingdom. So that is all the news for today. We are going to jump into Fantasyland and close that out for this week. So looking forward to getting into that here with Dad. Hope you enjoy. Today, we are starting off with Fantasyland, talking through all the different dining options, which there's quite a bit in Fantasyland, as well as the character meet and greets, which also quite a bit of options in the Fantasyland area. So the first restaurant that we're going to talk about is Cinderella's Royal Table. This was an opening day restaurant that opened on October 1st, 1971, obviously. And the restaurant actually was initially named something different, which I did not know this. It was named King Stephen's Banquet Hall after Sleeping Beauty's father, even though it was in Cinderella's castle. So the Disney Imagineers initially wanted to give it a more regal name. And since Cinderella's dad in the story did not have a name, and Prince Charming's dad did not have a name, they decided to name it after Sleeping Beauty's dad, which is kind of, I thought, a bizarre reason to name it that anyway, in Cinderella's castle. But then on April 28th, 1997, after 26 years, it was renamed to Cinderella's Royal Table, which ended a lot of confusion about the name. And something kind of cool in the restaurant, I guess there's over 40 coats of armor that are displayed. Each is a tribute to someone who played a significant role in the development of the Walt Disney Company. So that's kind of a cool little unique touch. And this restaurant does serve breakfast and then also lunch and dinner. The lunch and dinner menus are the same right now. And you're actually dining inside of Cinderella's castle. So for those of you who have never been here, it is a really unique, obviously pricey, but really unique experience that most people will never get the chance to have. And it's character dining. So Cinderella does greet the guests downstairs for photos, and then other princesses are there, but it's not guaranteed which princesses you'll see. So some princesses that have appeared in more recent months that I could find online were Merida from Brave, Aurora, obviously from Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel from Tangled, Ariel, and Jasmine. And they kind of rotate through. Not all of those princesses will be there, but they kind of rotate through different options, and everyone will get to meet Cinderella kind of as you walk in. Right now, the pricing sits at $74 per adult plus tax and gratuity, and $45 per child plus tax and gratuity. But the kicker is, I thought I remembered this being like similar to Liberty Tree Tavern, where it's family style and more all you can eat. But it says as of right now, you basically pick a pastry plate for breakfast, one entree. It's not all you can eat. And then for dinner, which is $88 per adult and then $52 per child, then it is one appetizer, one entree, and one dessert. And it's things like steak, chicken, and potatoes, risotto. So you're paying $88 for one plate of food, which is kind of crazy to me to think about. And I've heard the food is okay, that it's not amazing, it's fine, especially for that cost. But it is, yeah, one plate, not all you can eat, and does have the character dining. But when we went, so we've been here a couple times. Maybe, well, I remember going for sure for breakfast once, Dad. Did we go for lunch or dinner before as well?
No, we just went for breakfast because it's the place I always wanted to go to also because I thought it'd just be super cool to go up in the castle.
Yeah.
Another way you can get up in the castle is go pay the price, right?
Yeah.
And I remember there's a little stairway that kind of wound up to go up there. I thought there was a little elevator too. I'm sure there was.
I think there was,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so anybody that needed help in that way could go up the elevator. But yeah, we just, as far as what I can remember, we just went the one time for breakfast. And that would have been probably, I'm thinking maybe around early 2000, maybe 2001, somewhere in there. Um, I was really impressed with it. I was not impressed with the food.
Yeah.
But again, that was a long time ago. Maybe it's gotten better. From what I've gathered, in my research says it hasn't gotten a lot better
Yeah.
because you're pretty much paying for the experience and to have the princesses come and visit your table and be able to take pictures and things. Yeah, so that's what I remember. But it was very. I really enjoyed being inside it, and I know you kids did too. Again, that was a long time ago, but it was it's expensive, but again, you're not paying for the food, you're paying for the experience.
Yeah. And I remembered when we went, it was obviously Cinderella, I believe Prince Charming as well. I have to look back at my pictures, but then Fairy Godmother, I think was there, Peter Pan and Wendy for some reason I remember being there. I don't know why if I remember that from memory or pictures or videos, but I do remember it being a really, yeah, unique experience, not something that we did all the time, obviously. But I can't remember if the breakfast was like unlimited or if it was just one plate. Do you recall?
I think it was a one and done.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
that's
I don't think it was an
crazy.
all you can eat. For that money, you should get all you can eat and then have
Yeah,
lunch and breakfast or lunch and dinner too, right? But
yeah,
yeah, I think it was just in the breakfast to me was really I think it was like a
basic.
Mickey waffle and it
Yeah,
was kind of mediocre for what you're paying, but yeah, it was the experience. And that's, a lot of people, I don't see a lot of people probably going back there over and over and over again, only because it is so expensive.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then the next restaurant that we're going to talk about is Pinocchio Village House. This also was an opening day restaurant, which I did not remember. The menu here has changed quite a bit over the years from what I remember. I think it used to be a pretty either the basic circle pizza or just like burger place. I can't recall. I think they had almost everywhere used to have burgers anywhere you went, but now it's open for lunch and dinner. They do have chicken parm sandwiches, flatbread pizzas, Caesar salads, and then kids meals, they actually have like almost little Lunchables Disney version for kids, and it's about $10 to $14 on average, depending on what you get. And I guess one of the more exciting features of the Magic Kingdom version of this ride is the Monstro Room, which has big windows that overlook the Small World ride. And so I remember sitting near those windows a couple of times and kind of watching the ride while we ate lunch, and that's pretty neat. I didn't remember, and I had to look at pictures to even see it now because in my head I don't ever remember this, but I guess there is outdoor balcony seating as well in that restaurant. You can go upstairs and sit like in a balcony area that's covered, and the figure of Figaro was added to the exterior balcony in January 2022, which is the cat from Pinocchio, for those of you not familiar with Pinocchio. But did we ever sit in that balcony or do we almost always sit inside?
I don't think we went there all that much. They did have the really good little pizzas, and they went to the flatbread pizzas, and I was never a fan. They did that. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go here anymore. But yeah, we sat on that balcony. I know at least a couple of times. I like to
Okay.
go different places, check out different things, and
Yeah.
I remember reading about the balcony and seeing people eating up there once, and let's go check it out. So yeah, we would go up there and you kind of eat. People watch. It was a great place. It's not always open. I think if it's a little quieter, they don't open up the balcony. But I think Disney's kind of like Magic Kingdom's probably busy all the time now, so
Yeah.
it's probably going
Yeah.
to open quite often.
For some reason, I don't recall like even seeing a balcony there. And then I looked at pictures. I was like, oh, yeah, there it is. But I just don't. I remember the small world window very well, but I don't really remember the balcony. And then another restaurant that I think in my mind was going to be more amazing than it is. The restaurant itself is amazing. The food again was okay. Is the Be Our Guest restaurant. And this opened after the Fantasyland expansion. They had a soft opening November 19th, 2012. And then it had the grand opening for everyone December 6th, 2012. And this did also go through a little changes. Currently, it's only open for lunch and dinner. And it's $72 per adult, $43 per child, and it's similar where you choose one appetizer, one entree, one dessert. It's things like French onion soup, filet mignon, pork chop, and then there's a dessert trio. But this restaurant initially was the only public accessibility in Magic Kingdom to serve wine and beer, which was exclusively at dinner prior to December 23rd, 2016. Now there are more restaurants at Magic Kingdom that have alcohol on their menu. And that surprised me that this is the one that kind of made that turn. But on March 20th, 2015, they had breakfast meals and they had eggs Florentine, open faced egg poached bacon sandwiches. But then breakfast went away during COVID. They also, this is how I experienced it. They used to, when it first opened, offer a quick service lunch. So you could go in, kind of pick up your food, see the restaurant, sit down, and it was very crowded, a little chaotic, but the restaurant is very cool. There's different rooms. So there's the grand ballroom, kind of where Belle and Beast have their first dance, the West Wing, where they have an enchanted rose on display there, and then a rose gallery that have paintings, this huge wooden music box depicting Belle and the Beast dancing. So the restaurant itself is really neat. I know they also used to have, I thought it was both Belle and the Beast walking around to the tables, and now they don't have any characters when you're eating. So, like for the dinner feature, it was worth it to pay because Belle and Beast would come over to your table, or at least the Beast for sure used to. And now it's just you pay all this money to get to eat in there, and it's one plate, and that's it, and no characters. So, I feel like for such an amazing restaurant interior and even walking up to the restaurant is really cool. They just didn't, I don't know, it just like did not hit the mark for me. I thought the food was fine when I ate there. It was a quick service, so I haven't had the sit down meal. But have you guys ever eaten here, Dad?
To be brutally honest, we've never eaten here. We walked into the door. I was trying to see if we could just go like walk in and kind of check it out when it was first built. And they didn't allow us to do that. So I've just seen pictures. I've heard the food is okay for what you
Yeah.
pay. They said it is expensive, but it's a sit down type meal anymore. So no, so I can't really speak to it other than it looks like the interior is really well done. The Imagineers did a great job designing, the interior. So
Yeah. Yeah, the interior is really well done. I wish that they would change it up and do another like opportunity for anyone to go in and see it or make it character dining again. I think that could be really neat, especially if they had Gaston and they had the Belle and, Belle and the Beast. That would be really, really cool. So that's, yeah, the whole area is very well themed, very well done, but just could use a little bit more. I wish they had a Beauty and the Beast ride back there of some sort, kind of like they have over in Asia. They have a really cool Beauty and the Beast ride over there that's trackless, kind of like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. But Gaston's Tavern is a quick service place that I have not been to, but Regan has been and said they have incredible cinnamon rolls. But there are different snacks there from ranging $5 to $15 or so. They're also known for something called LeFou's Brew, and I've heard about this. I guess I always assumed I wouldn't like it, but then when I was reading what it was, I was like, okay, now I want to try this. It's frozen apple juice, toasted marshmallow, and then some kind of passion fruit mango foam or something. But apple juice is like one of our favorite things. And so I think frozen apple juice would be right up my alley. I definitely like marshmallow. So I want to try that next time that we go. But the other things served there are more breakfast menu items. They do have some like different dessert type things as well, but another really cool themed place. That is the place as well. I forgot to jot this down, but they serve the gray stuff cupcake, which I did have years ago. And it's, the gray stuff from Beauty and the Beast that she talks about. Try the gray stuff, it's delicious. Or Lumiere says that, I guess, in the song, Be Our Guest. So that's a neat little place. Have you had the cinnamon rolls from here?
I have. I always hunted down the cinnamon rolls in the
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom as soon as the Main Street Bakery turned over to Starbucks. Remember back in the
Yep.
day? I don't want to get into Main Street too much, but I know a lot of times when you and I would go to the park early, like for early entry, we
Yep.
would swing by the bakery. I would get a cinnamon roll, and you would get this monster cupcake.
Cupcake. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I used to get, I don't know, milk or chocolate milk with it and sit there on those little tables and kind of look over the castle and have our little breakfast. And then we'd go off and do our attractions. But yeah, so I had that and I had the LeBrew's Brew also. And it's really good.
Oh,
You would
you
really like
did?
it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
it was really good. Yeah, that was a few years back, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it. It's on my high on my list to try when I go in March with Eiley for sure. And then Prince Eric's Village Market. This is another little stand quick service. This is more of a stand thing, but they have snacks ranging from $2 to $16. This is a place you can get big pretzels, turkey legs, slushies. And then it was funny to me, they have those giant pickles, which cracks me up because Latoya was talking about this on her last episode that she was on, and that's her favorite Disney snack is a giant pickle, which I am not a pickle person. And then grapes is listed as like a thing you can just go there and buy, I guess, which is so random. But that's the cheapest menu item are grapes, and then the most expensive are the turkey legs. But that's more of like a stand than Gaston's, which is more of like an indoor thing you can go order, sit down and stuff. There's a few tables. And then the Cheshire Cafe, this is over actually towards the Mad Tea Party. This is again another snack kind of window type thing, and they have things about $5 to $8. The pepper jack pretzel is a popular one. There's an unbirthday cupcake. And then one of the most popular snacks that people go wild over these days on social media is the Cheshire Cattail, which is this pastry that has different like purple and pink and blue frosting on the top and is filled with chocolate chips and sweet cream. And that's another thing that sounds right up my alley. So I'm like, oh man, I got to add all these things to my list. But have you and Doreen ever tried one of those cattail things?
I've heard about it. I think I saw some people eating one of those ones. I never have, but I'm sure I would love it because sweets and me go together. Chocolate, of course. So yeah,
Yeah.
it looked really good, but I never have. No.
Yeah, yeah, they do look really good. And then Storybook Treats, this was a place that used to be called Mrs. Potts Cupboard. This was one of our frequented stops as kids and always. We almost always get ice cream from here, but it changed names to Storybook Treats in late 2010. I wish they would have left it. I get that Beauty and the Beast kind of opened up in a separate area, so they were trying to kind of keep the theming, but I love Mrs. Potts, so I thought it was cute that it was named that. But now they used to just have different flavors of soft serve ice cream. You could get floats there, but and different like sundaes with syrup and stuff. But now they have these princess named sundaes, which there's one called a Rapunzel sundae, which is shortcake, wild berry soft serve, Dole Whip lemon berry compote, and it's kind of served in a dish. And then there's an Aurora cone, which this is on my list to try as well. It's strawberry Dole Whip and then blue soft serve topped with these white chocolate crisp pearls in this blue sugar cone. And I saw a picture of it the other day and was like, what is that? And then looked it up and was like, oh my gosh, that looks incredible. So, in addition to all different flavors of soft serve Dole Whip, the ice cream floats, you can get these little special princess sundaes there, which look delicious. So, another hit. I know Regan, this is always a place he has to stop, no matter if he's there 2 hours or all day. He always goes to Storybook Treats or Mrs. Potts Cupboard. So, is that something? Do you get a sundae there, or what do you usually get?
I normally got I think it was the chocolate and vanilla swirled together
Oh yeah,
in a cup because if
in
you
a
get
cup.
a cone
Oh
and it's
yeah,
150 degrees out, it's you're wearing it on your hand most of the time, not in your mouth. So I always
yeah.
got it in a cup. We always tried to find some shade to go hide it so you could actually eat it before it melted. But yeah, that was pretty basic, but that's what I always got there and probably still will down the road. So
Yeah, that's the one thing about that area is there's not a lot of good, well, there's definitely no seating. We've talked about this a lot. There's just not enough seating in Magic Kingdom, but there's not much shade either. So it's really hard to find like a shady spot to go sit after you get your ice cream. And sometimes we would get it at night, so at least it wasn't quite so hot, kind of before the fireworks or whatever. And then the Friars Nook, this is an area that I kind of forgot about because it's kind of tucked away between these things, but in Fantasyland, kind of near the carousel-ish and Mrs. Potts cupboard. But they do serve breakfast and lunch. They have things like sausage, egg cheddar bagel sandwich, as well as these cheddar bacon and ranch tots, which I guess the tots at Disneyland or Disney World are becoming exceedingly popular, and they do all these different tot things. They also, for lunch, have hot dogs. They do have the beignets. They have mac and cheese hand pies. And it looks like that, even though like the hot dogs are listed as lunch, they are served all day, like the hot dogs, beignets, and mac and cheese. And they do have this strawberry lemonade slush, and things kind of range between $8 and $12 or so. So they don't have like a full menu to eat. Again, not a lot of places to sit right near it. So you kind of have to get your stuff and go find somewhere to sit or walk and eat it, which is not ideal with little ones. So those are kind of all the different restaurants in the Fantasyland area, so two really major sit-down restaurants, a couple quick service, and then some really good snack places to eat. So I going through this added a lot of things on my list to try when I go with Eiley because I just, think a lot of it sound delicious, and I feel like sometimes we skip over that stuff. But getting into the character meet and greets, so there are quite a few characters that you can meet in Fantasyland, which is appropriate. There is the Princess Fairy Tale Hall, and that opened September 18th, 2013. This replaced the Snow White Scary Adventure ride, which was such a bummer to take that out for this fairy tale hall attraction, or not even attraction, really, just where you meet the princesses. And there are two different sections. So you meet two princesses in each section. So a total of four princesses. Usually one side is Elena of Avalor, which I don't know why they've kept this because I don't even know who that is. Most people don't know who that is or care who that is. And she's with Cinderella. And then on the other side, you have Rapunzel with Tiana. Sometimes they have different special guest princesses or whatnot, but most of the time it's those four princesses there. And you get in line. It tells you outside on the queue how long the wait is for each of them. You can either go left or right. And if you want to meet the other two, you have to get back in line and go back through. So this, yeah, was a disappointing change to go from Snow White Scary Adventures to this fairy tale hall attraction. It's a really big area. It is indoor, it is air conditioned, so that's nice. You're not standing outside like you are for a lot of meet and greets, like in this long, hot line. But I just was really disappointed. You did go in here with Makayla when she was young. Is that right, Dad?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, we have pictures of her meeting Cinderella, and it might have been some another princess because I don't remember Rapunzel or Tiana or this Elena person.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it was Snow White or I thought it was Snow White and Cinderella. I think we have pictures of her meeting, and she was like 3 years old, and now she's driving a car. So life is moving along. Yeah, yeah, and it was good. I mean, for a meet and greet, you're not out in the heat. You have to wait in line a little bit, but I wish they would have taken out the attraction like we talked about before, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was good. I thought it was good, and like I said, you're out of the heat and they take pictures and everything. So
Yeah, this is one I have not ever been in, but I do plan to take Eiley there because she really wants to meet Tiana and Rapunzel. She's not met either one of those. So we do plan to hopefully stop there in March. And then meeting Mirabelle at Fairy Tale Garden. So this is where you used to be able to meet Merida from Brave. Now they've moved her. Occasionally she comes out in Liberty Square, or you can meet her sometimes at the Cinderella's Royal Table. But this actually used to be the location where Storytime with Belle was, which is what I remember going to. It's kind of right over the bridge into Fantasyland. And that Storytime with Belle ran from 1999 to 2010 until it moved into the Beauty and the Beast area in Fantasyland. But Mirabelle is another one that Eiley really loves. We did Encanto this year for Halloween as our family, and Blake actually was Mirabelle, but that's one that she wants to see as well. So I'm sure we'll try to stop in there. You can also meet Ariel in her grotto. And they used to have, we talked, I think, a little bit about this in our Parks of the Past Magic Kingdom episode, but this really awesome meet and greet for Ariel back in the day near where 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea used to be. And this was Regan's favorite thing to do. I think his entire day was so excited. His whole, everything built up to meeting Ariel. And it's like the cutest pictures of him as a kid, just totally cheesing to meet her. And now it is nice because now it's right by the Little Mermaid ride. It can get really long to wait for her, but it's totally covered indoors. It's air conditioned, so it's not blazing hot. And we did this at a Halloween party. We barely had to wait because you don't really wait for much of anything during the Halloween party, which is a benefit of it. And it was really nice. They took a lot of really good pictures. We got to spend probably 2 or 3 minutes just kind of talking to Ariel, and she asked Eiley all these questions. Eiley was dressed as Ariel that year for the Halloween party. So that was a really special memory. But I'm sure you remember taking Regan to meet Ariel, or most of the time Mom would, and we would go ride something while he was waiting in line for her every time.
yes, we did that a lot where they would wait for a meet and greet and we would hit the attractions.
Yeah.
That was pretty common. Like, we'll let you guys hang here and we'll go. But yeah, he was infatuated with Ariel. There's no
Ariel.
doubt.
Yeah,
As a
it's
little
so
kid,
funny.
yeah.
He definitely was. And then Pete's Silly Sideshow, which used to be like the Toontown Fair tent. Now it's called Pete's Silly Sideshow. And they have two different sections as well. They have the Daring Disney Pals, which are Donald and Goofy, and the Dashing Disney Pals, which are Minnie and Daisy. They're kind of dressed in these like almost, it reminds me of like DuckTales the Treasure, like Lost Treasure episode, like interesting garb. It's not like traditional character costumes, which I guess it's something different and unique, but I kind of wish they'd have, them in just their regular everyday gear. I feel like it's kind of hard to meet them in their normal outfits these days. You only kind of see that in the parades or sometimes the castle shows, but that is something that they don't, really you don't get to do very often, I guess, is meet them. So you have to wait again separately for the, two Donald and Goofy, wait again for Minnie and Daisy. And this used to be where you would meet different characters, but it also used to have Mickey and Minnie's house kind of nearby. So you would go through Mickey's house and meet Mickey, and then also same with Minnie. But that changed when they got rid of Toontown and made it into that Fantasyland expansion. But I have never been in this since then. And Eiley has met all of these characters except for Daisy, so I don't know if she'll be super into doing it there or meeting Daisy at another park. But is that something that you ever did when Makayla was younger, is go here?
We did not. I knew it was
Okay.
there, but yeah, we never took the time to go in there. She was pretty little, and uh, I didn't ever put, I guess, Donald and Daisy with Makayla. She wasn't really. She knew who they were, but she didn't. I don't think she really cared. She always wanted. It was always the Minnie and Mickey, and of course the dogs, Goofy.
Yep.
So
Yeah, yeah. It was a little disappointing. I feel like that would be a better place to have more characters or like unique characters instead of the same over and over. But yeah, so that is still there. You can still go, but not, I feel like it's not as popular as they thought it would be. I don't ever remember seeing a crazy long line or like wait time in the app for that. So that is what is in Pete's Silly Sideshow. That's what it's called now. And then worth mentioning, I thought for the Magic Kingdom are a couple of things. There's something called the Smellephants on Parade, which I knew nothing about. This started July 27th, 2023, and it's this Dumbo themed interactive experience that came to the Storybook Circuits area of Fantasyland, so kind of backed by Dumbo and the old Toontown. And according to the Disney Parks Twitter account, it was revealed that the attraction would be presented in this family-friendly search and sniff adventure, which was added. And it kind of explained that there was this concept art with this elephant statue referencing the pink elephants on parade. And the interactive experience was sponsored by Scentsy, which is this company that is kind of like a multi-level marketing thing. I've actually bought a lot of their Disney stuff. We have a few of their wax melter things. So it was funny that I've never heard of this. And the Dumbo scent from Scentsy is one of my favorite scents. But this is the official home for fragrance for the Walt Disney World Resort. They partnered with Scentsy. They're like a Disney partner, so they do have this attraction, quote unquote, in the Magic Kingdom. And I guess on July 28th of 2023, cast members gave out maps and sticker sheets at the ticket booth in the Big Top Souvenirs area, where then people would help guests kind of explore and find these different statues, record their unique scents. I don't really know what the purpose of it is. It's just kind of like a little scavenger hunt. It seems very random. I guess it just gives like people with little kids something else unique to do that doesn't cost money. I don't know if they sell the Scentsy stuff in the parks, but did you know that this existed? I had no idea what this was when I looked it up.
I've never heard of such a thing. It seems a
Yeah.
little, like I said, it's a free thing, which is hard to find a lot of free things in Disney. But so yeah, I can see maybe some families kind of enjoying, trying to do that. But if it's real busy or something, they're just trying to find something to do and not wait on a line for, an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. And then there also is the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and this is something that I've never done. I have no desire to do. I hope my kids never find out about it because it's insanely expensive. And in my opinion, most kids come out of there, you pay all this money, and they're hot and sweaty and itchy in the dress. And but I know some people really love it, so no shade to people that do, but it costs so much money to me. I'd rather spend that on a really cool dining experience or really cool souvenir. But there are different packages, and I was almost flabbergasted by the cost of some of these things. But the top package, which is the signature package, is $450. And you get this, it says on the website, heirloom quality fabric and an intricate design. And it's basically a costume for your kid. And the dresses include Aurora, Cinderella, Elsa, and Belle. And then they also come with a high quality crystal tiara with a box and this garment bag with a satin hanger. They do your hair, shimmer makeup. They do this face gem stuff that they stick on their face, nail polish, and this sash. And yeah, that costs $450. It also takes a lot of time out of your day. So if you're only at Magic Kingdom one day, then you're spending this money on top of that. I just can't imagine spending that kind of money on this. But you can, there are cheaper packages. So there's a deluxe castle package, which is basically selecting more like a Disney store type dress up dress of your choice. And then you get a fancy necklace. There's accessory set, but shoes are not included. And same thing, the hair, the makeup, the nail polish, the sash. Or you can do the castle package, which is $200, so a little bit cheaper. It comes with a dress, a necklace, a wand, or a crown, wand and crown, and then the hair and all that. Or the carriage package is where you bring your own dress, but you still get, the hairstyling, a bag, a t-shirt, you get the nail polish, the makeup, all that kind of stuff. So if I were to ever do it, that's what I would do. I would not pay for their dress. And now they have these other, like there's an Encanto package that's a little cheaper, like $180. There is for boys a night package, so they can go get their little hair gel done. They can have a little night costume and a mighty sword and shield, and theirs is only $80. But it really is, I mean, to me, just insanely expensive for what you get. You're taking time out of the park. And I know a lot of little girls, love being dressed up as a princess, but I can imagine I'd pay all this money for my kids and they'd be like, I'm itchy 2 seconds later, want to take their dress off. Their hair would be so tight, it would hurt to get it all out. So it's just not something that I ever plan to do. But I thought about it for a second when I saw this, and then I looked at the prices and I said, oh my gosh, I think I just had a heart attack. I could not imagine paying that. But this is not something Mikaela ever did, right, Dad? Or did she?
No, no, she probably, I think she asked about it once, but we quickly thought better of it. We saw so many little girls running around with these outfits on and their sash and their wands and their tiaras, and a lot of them were pretty miserable. It just seemed like it was just, we
Yeah.
knew it wasn't this expensive back then, but it was still pretty pricey.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd rather spend that money at a Halloween party and dress up like princess, your kids dress up like princesses or a knight or whatever, and go
Yes.
there and you have a lot more fun, for similar money. So
Exactly, exactly. And this opened a long time ago. I mean, it opened April 5th, 2006, it says. Which I guess they also had a little thing in World of Disney in Downtown Disney as well as in Magic Kingdom. I guess the one at Magic Kingdom, so the World of Disney was April 5th, 2006. Magic Kingdom was September 10th, 2007. And then Tokyo Disneyland has one as well as Disneyland Park. But yeah, it's definitely an expensive opportunity for you to spend a lot of money. One other thing I wanted to mention about Fantasyland that I feel like this is another area that they could have done so much more with, but they didn't, is the Tangled area bathrooms. They're like the most popular bathrooms in the park. The theming is incredible. They have really cool photo pass opportunities there at night holding the lanterns. And that's all Tangled got, which is such a bummer. This is one of my favorite Disney movies. I love Rapunzel. I feel like there's a missed opportunity to do some kind of Snuggly Duckling pub or bar with, like food over in that area back behind it somehow. But yeah, that bathrooms, I feel like most people who are frequent Disney goers know they love the Tangled area bathrooms and the theming is really cool. But and you can kind of see Rapunzel's tower off in the distance. So I wish they would have done a little bit more with that area for sure.
and that area was, yeah, I think you talked about this in your another episode. That's where the Skyway,
Yes.
you'd load up on the Skyway, and that all was still there when we first started going in the late '90s. Of course, the Skyway was already closed, but yeah, and so they were like, "Oh, we're going to do this real cool area," and granted, it's great for a bathroom, but it's a place to sit, and a lot of people are just sitting around hanging out. There's some neat tables there with a little stream that goes through. I mean, it's done
Yeah.
really well,
Yeah.
but it's at the end of the day, it's kind of a hangout place, and it's a bathroom. So,
It's a bathroom. Yeah, exactly.
but hey, can
Exactly.
never have enough bathrooms, right?
Yeah, can never have enough bathrooms. That is for sure. So now that we made our whole way through Magic Kingdom Fantasyland, we wanted to go ahead and rank the attractions, which this is an area that has a lot of attractions. So some of them I kind of had a hard time differentiating exactly where they'd go on my list. But my number one attraction in Fantasyland is actually, I think, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I really like the theming. I think it's a really cool and unique dark ride. The bouncing aspect with Tigger and the whole Heffalumps and Woozles, the, different Pepper's ghost illusion that they use with Pooh Bear, all of that is just really neat. The big storybook pages. I have a special heart for Winnie the Pooh. So that's my number one attraction. And then second is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, just because it's a more upbeat but still good for kids roller coaster with a pretty small height requirement. And then I go to the Little Mermaid Journey Under the Sea, Mickey's PhilharMagic at number four, Peter Pan's Flight at number five. Then I threw in the Enchanted Storytime with Belle. After that, Mad Tea Party, the Carousel, It's a Small World is number nine, Dumbo is number 10, and the Barnstormer is number 11. I could care less about Barnstormer. I kind of wish they'd rip it out and put something else back there that's a little cooler. But how would you rank your attractions, Dad?
I'm gonna. I went with Peter Pan's Flight as my number one.
Okay.
It's just old school. I like the old school. I like the attractions that Walt Disney had, starting in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Behind that, I would have to say, I know it sounds crazy, probably the Mad Tea Party.
Really?
I like that. I don't get sick on it. My wife won't go on it probably ever again after
Yeah.
last year. She got a little sick. I really like that. So after that, probably Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think that's really well done. I think the queue is really cool.
Hmm.
It's just too short, but I do like it. After that, I had to put down. I like Mickey's PhilharMagic. I enjoy that. I think that's really well done. I would put the carousel up there next because again, it's old school, but it's one of the coolest carousels around because of the whole story there.
Yeah.
Uh, and I guess the finishing up Journey into the Sea, it's down the list for me. Again, there's a lot of money put into that attraction, but
Yeah.
we rarely go on it anymore, even with Michaela and friends or whatever. We just the last time we went a couple, it was last January. We just we didn't even bother.
Yeah.
But with small kids, I can see that it would be really cool. But for my wife and I and teens, and like, we'll pass. And then it's a small world.
Hmm.
Enchanted story time with Belle, and Dumbo is just another. I know that's a real old school from the very early days of 1955, but it's just another hub and spoke attraction to me. And then of course the Barnstormer, as you said, I think is one of the worst attractions in the whole park. So
Yeah, I agree. It might be the worst. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see at the very end what our worst is, but Barnstormer is horrible to me.
yes,
But yeah, okay, glad we both agree Barnstormer can go. So then old versus new. Initially, I had thought about doing Snow White's Scary Adventure as the old, which I'm still gonna stick with. That's the old attraction versus the Fairy Tale Hall, but nobody wants that, so they'd keep the ride, I think. So let's do Snow White's Scary Adventure versus the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Which one do you think you would rather keep, or which one has a, better place in your heart, would you say?
well, you're looking at an attraction that's been around, I think, also in Disneyland since 1955. It was an original attraction. If it
Hmm.
wasn't, it was very close to
Close.
that. And it's a classic dark ride. Does it compare to Mine Train? No, like technology wise, it's kind of like apples and oranges almost. Uh,
Yeah.
if I had to pick, again, I always lean toward the old school things. I remember taking you kids on that, and I remember going on it at Disneyland. I'd have to say Snow White's Scary Adventure. As
Okay.
strange as that, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, is he nuts? But
No, I
yeah,
don't think so. I think you'll be surprised how many people actually would pick that because I think the fact that they got rid of it even though they made a Snow White ride, getting rid of a dark ride for, next to nothing for the fairy tale hall was, a lot of people were like, why would you do that? So I think, and it was a really cool dark ride. It was, really neat, the scene where they're all dancing with the dwarfs and the witches looking out the window. And I know they still have that in the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but it's just not quite the same. But I think I would pick Seven Dwarfs Mine Train mostly because of the queue and the mine scene. That the mine scene in Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is the coolest part to me. I think it's really
Yes,
unique. I'm glad you slowed down a little bit for it. I wish you had a little more time in there, but that whole scene is really, really cool to me. So
I
that's what I
agree.
would pick. And
Sure.
then our quiz for today is how many gargoyles guard the outside of Cinderella Castle? The options are 13, 17, 11, or 15. I have no idea.
Yeah, it'll
I'm
be a
gonna
pure guess for me. I know they're there, but I surely haven't counted them. I'll say 15 because I have no idea.
Okay, I'm gonna say 13. Let's see what the answer is. Oh, it's 13.
There you go.
Okay.
You got one.
I
Ding, ding,
got
ding,
one
ding.
by pure guess. Okay, so that is everything in Fantasyland. We're making our way around the Magic Kingdom. Next up will be Tomorrowland before we finish it out with Main Street. So thanks to everybody for listening along, and definitely tell us what is your top attraction, or rank all of them in Fantasyland. What is your least favorite? Do you agree that Barnstormer can go? Are you a Barnstormer fanatic? I'd be curious what people say about that. So let us know your favorite, your least favorite, and we look forward to doing this again with y'all next week. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Soarin Around WDW Pod, where we share fun reels, throwback photos, and dive into our old versus new debates. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. And for our Spotify listeners, a follow and a 5-star review would mean the world. Thanks again for joining us. See you next time.